Robinson, and welcome to our show. I'm here today with Dudley Jensen, who's a longtime Bourne resident. Dudley, tell me a little bit about your time in Bourne. How old were you when you moved here, and what was your early childhood like?
My family, which was the Chamberlain family, that was my mother's maiden name, were old line New Englanders. Strangely enough, they were educated. Her grandfather was a minister, one of the first ministers here in the town of Bourne.
In the town of Bourne.
Her father was a lawyer who represented the interests of Bourne at the time the Cape Cod Canal was being dug or not being dug. Basically, he said, look, you take our property by eminent domain and then you don't do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
We can't even graze on it by law.
How far back do your family's roots go with this town?
I would guess sometime in the mid-1600s.
Okay.
It could have been before that, but I don't have a record of it.
Okay, so your family were involved in the original settlement of Plymouth and of Bourne?
Well, dear, I'm a little bit too young to remember that.
I can't ask you about 1628 then.
Not expect to get a presentable answer.
Well, let's go back to your history. How old were you when you moved to Bourne?
I don't know, but my guess would be less than 2 years old.
Okay, so your earliest memories.
Did not move here permanently.
Okay.
Until I was in the 6th grade, we would spend our summers here at the old Chamberlain homestead on the corner of Old Dam Road and County Road.
Mm-hmm.
And then go back to Schenectady, New York.
Okay.
And that's where the name Jensen came from instead of Chamberlain.
Okay.
It may be hard to realize, but with all this antiquity and historical background, my mother married a first-generation Dane immigrant.
I noticed that you have an interesting middle name. How do you pronounce your middle name?
I don't pronounce it very often.
I couldn't
but
either.
M-A-R-K-B.
Yes.
Instead of a regular O,
okay.
which would be Moorcobb, and believe me, it's been bruited that it was Moorcobb more than once. But it is, in Danish, it's pronounced Mjukub.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll leave that to you to pronounce. So in 6th grade, you went, your family...
6th grade, we stayed here.
Permanently?
All year.
Okay.
We went back to Schenectady for 1 year. From the 8th grade on through high school.
Okay.
I was here.
And you went to school in the Bourne school systems. And what was the school at the time? Where did you go to school?
Well, the grammar school is now the library.
Okay. And that was the Stoll School?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
The high school was the Cody School.
Okay.
Which is now uninhabited. I think it's on the market as a retirement community. And after high school and 4 years, it was a revelation to me to be in a setting where I basically knew everybody, if not by name, by sight, rather than being just a number in a large background of students. And actually, for a long time, the students from Sagamore, until we got to high school level, did not attend with us.
Where did they go?
There was a school in Sagamore, a grammar school.
Okay.
It was on the North Shore of the canal.
So then that's a similar experience to children who are growing up in Bourne now, that they'll go to individual grammar schools and then everybody meets up at the high school and you have a larger group. Do you remember how many students were in your graduating class in high school?
Roughly, it was 43 in the class of 1943.
Oh, wow. 1943.
And the reason that it was unique was, again, roughly, it was 35 boys and 8 girls,
Okay.
which accounted for the fact that athletically we won the Cape Championship in football, basketball, and baseball. And we're the first team from Cape Cod ever to be invited to the MIT tournament.
For football?
For basketball.
For basketball.
Yes,
basketball.
where we lost in the semifinals.
Wow, wow. Did you participate in sports when you were in high school?
All of them, dear.
Okay.
Not that awfully well. I wasn't a star in anything, but I was a participant. And strangely enough, one of my teammates, last name was Cody.
Cody from?
Whose father was the principal of Cody School.
Okay.
Another was Peebles,
Oh, wow, wow.
whose father was the superintendent of schools.
Okay.
So we were pretty well represented.
Yes, yes. Wow.
And it was wonderful because you were a person, you were an entity, and you knew all of those around you pretty well, not only in school but out of school. So socializing with them was very relaxed.
Now, how do you think life was different when you were in high school with 43 classmates versus a teenager growing up today with a larger group of classmates and so many more people living in town?
Well, I think today's teenagers would have to answer part of that question for you. It was a very relaxed curriculum and approach that we had in 1943. And as you can well imagine, it was unique from the point of view not only that we had the overwhelming number of boys compared to girls in the senior class, but all of the boys, with one exception, were in the service within 6 months or 6 weeks after graduation.
Wow, wow.
The one who didn't go in the service went, the federal government was sent overseas to interpret as a civilian what was going on.
So graduating in 1943 and then immediately going into the service, what was your path? What branch of the service did you join?
That was also a convoluted sort of thing. I joined the Army Air Corps.
Okay.
The Army Air Corps dissolved to become an entity of its own. About a year and a half later, became the Air Force.
Okay. And did you
So
did
I
you
went
move
from
on
the
to the Air
Army
Force?
to the Air Force.
Okay. What did you do for the Air Force?
I was a gunner. Not anything heroic. Did not get into combat. The most dangerous thing I ever did was fly down into the Caribbean looking for German submarines, which probably either were already sunk or hadn't left Germany, one or the other. After the war, I stayed in the reserve.
Okay.
And
did you work at the Otis Air National Guard base, or?
no, basically as soon as I was discharged from active duty, a brief period of time, the following fall, I was off to college.
Okay.
So after 4 years at Springfield College, and then graduate school at Columbia, and then postgraduate at the University of Virginia, and with all those credentials, good, bad, or indifferent, luck intervened.
What was the luck?
I was able to afford, I thought anyway, the first new car in my life.
Oh, okay.
And there were no car dealerships here in Bourne that had what I was looking for. The nearest one was over in East Wareham. So one day I went over there with my good friend and ex-classmate Don Cunningham.
Okay.
Both of whom were serving, both of us were then serving on the police department too,
Okay.
prior We'd been in service and so forth. And he and I went over to the car dealership. A very kind gentleman over there said, "What can we do for you?" Oh, I said, "I'm just looking at cars." He said, "Well, please." And we looked at these beautiful cars.
What were you looking for?
I was looking for something I could pay for.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have a particular make or model in mind?
No, but it ended up being a Plymouth.
Yeah, yeah.
And he saw he had this baited and almost hooked. He said, "Why don't we take a ride?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I'm bored." So we did, and he asked us what we did. I'm on the police department. Donald is on the police department. I also run all the beaches for the town of Bourne, and that's why I'm on the police department, because if anything happens, they wanted somebody with police authority to intervene, or if anything serious happened.
So you ran the beaches for the town of Bourne. What did that mean?
And that meant that on Mondays, I was at Pocasset Heights.
Okay.
On Tuesdays, I was at Barlowtown.
Okay.
On Wednesdays, I was at Monument Beach. On Thursday, I could very well be down at Sagamore Beach, or sometimes I was out at Mashney Island.
And did you, so was Mashney Island a public beach at that time?
No, but the students came into the dike to get their lessons.
Okay. So were you there as an instructor?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So.
And also, as I say, down to North Sagamore and Sagamore Beach. And then I had one day off.
Yeah.
Because there were 6 beaches that we met. And I found out subsequently that the reason I got so much attention was that the lifeguard got the day off when I came to teach.
Ah, so they were happy to see you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I was so proud because here I was, a special police officer.
Right, right. Now, as a special police officer, so you're going to the beach, giving swimming lessons to children of...
To see if anything happened, supposing something serious happened, or someone broke the rules and regulations. You know, drove down onto the beach.
Yep.
Had a picnic on the beach, whatever.
Yep.
That I would have authority to tell them they had to leave.
Yep. Now, what if they did that on the day that you weren't there?
I guess they just did it.
So if they figured out your...
At least they got the word around.
Right, right.
That there is somebody.
Yep.
And the police would have reported because the lifeguard would have called them.
Okay.
Said, "I've got a problem."
Okay.
So
you grew up swimming at these town beaches. What was your go-to beach? What was when you were young, when you were a teenager? Where would you go swimming most often in town?
Probably Monument Beach more than anything else, although going over to Gray Gables to swim over there made sense off the dike.
Right, right, right. And and I noticed in your biography, you have a connection to William and Mary and the Athletic Hall of Fame there. Is there a tie there between your athleticism at William and Mary and your history of swimming and teaching swimming in Bourne?
Well, if you can imagine, they made me a full professor over a period of 50 years. I was chairman of the Department of Kinesiology, which is the analysis of human movement, for about 20 years. I was the college registrar for much of that same time. So, yes, I was pretty well taken care of. William Mary, in its abysmal ignorance, elected me to their Athletic Hall of Fame.
Now, what?
And gave me an honorary doctorate.
For being the chair of, for being in charge of the
kinesiology.
Thank you. Oh, very nice, very nice.
It was very rewarding. I would not say that financially it was that awfully rewarding, but it was rewarding that you were able to progress and hopefully improve your talents and also help the college.
So during that time, you spent a lot of time in Virginia. Were you still spending summers in Bourne, or
We would come up and spend most of the summer, if not all the summer, in Bourne.
Okay, yeah.
So,
How have you seen the town change throughout the years? What would you say the biggest changes have been?
it's a microcosm of the way the United States has changed. I mean, there are more people, there's more interplay, there's more travel. We were very cloistered in a way.
Okay.
A lot of people born on Cape Cod never left it.
Yeah.
Except maybe take a trip to Boston, which the old train used to chug all the way from Provincetown to Boston.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And
did you see, were the bridges were different? Did you see the construction of the new railroad bridge? And
yes, the old railroad bridge was not, was a lift bridge.
Yeah.
And it was very close to where the current railroad bridge is. That was the minimal change, probably. As far as the car bridges are concerned, the bridge extended from one block this side of the town hall
Okay.
over to Bourne Four Corners.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So that was really more of a main
Yes.
thoroughfare. Okay, that's,
And there was a trolley track.
yeah. And did Bourne residents use that train system to go back and
Back
forth
and forth
to
to
Boston?
I would say very definitely.
Yeah.
You could see the influx every afternoon.
Okay.
When the train came in and all the gentlemen got off,
Yes.
many of them ate their lunch or their breakfast on the train going up.
Yep.
So
And there's a with the Cape Flyer, the new train is potentially going to be starting up
purportedly
again.
there's going to be a station right under the current Bourne Railroad Bridge.
Yeah.
Excuse me, under the current Bourne traffic bridge.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. I hadn't heard that.
Yes.
I hadn't heard that. Yeah.
Went down. They've done a little bit of surveying type of work and so forth, but I don't believe the ground has been broken yet.
Yeah. Now, part of your history in Bourne is that you became involved with the Bourne Historical Society and
Yes, ma'am.
active in preserving history. How did you become involved with that? How did you become interested?
Well, I inherited that interest from my mother,
Okay. And your mother's name again?
Catherine Dudley Chamberlain.
Okay.
She not only gave me an interest, she gave me a first name. And as I say, that was quite unique in that here she's got a minister and then a lawyer and marries a first generation Dane.
Yes. And she kept the name Chamberlain, though.
They divorced when I was about 18 months old.
Okay. Yeah, so
She
you.
was doomed the name Chamberlain, but they stayed friendly.
Oh, okay. And they both lived in town?
No. Remember I told you that we came for summers for quite a few years.
That's right, from New
And
York.
back to Schenectady,
Yep.
which is the home of General Electric.
Okay.
That was the headquarters in those days.
Okay.
And my father and grandfather on the Jensen side both worked for General Electric.
Okay.
So it made sense. That's where they met, was in Schenectady.
So your mother, Catherine Chamberlain, was involved with the Bourne Historical Society?
She was involved in history. To say the Bourne Historical Society, it was not as active as it is today
Right.
at all.
Right.
It was just comprised of people like Betsy Keene and others of her genre and generation.
And then how did you get involved?
I've always had an interest in history, even though my college progression was in the field of kinesiology or physical education. a jock, if you wish.
Uh-huh.
I always minored in history,
Okay.
and I still have a great interest in it. And
Tell us tell us a good legend or story about the history of Bourne, something that maybe not everybody has heard. Anything that you can...
You better bring me back for another interview.
I think we probably will.
Because I'm trying to think. There are things that were so interesting that I was told as a child
Yeah.
that I can't remember today, but just the fact that there used to be an academy
Okay.
in town.
What-
Where was the academy? On the first hill on County Road after you leave Four Corners.
Okay.
Uncle Merton Long lived on the right-hand side of the road,
Yep.
and the academy was up on the top of the hill
Okay.
on the other side.
Yeah. And just a private educational institution?
I think they called it an academy, but it was open to whether there was a charge to attend, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Whether it was tax supported, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
there also was a school on Main Street.
In Buzzards Bay?
in Bourne,
Okay.
almost directly opposite where the Bourne Library is now.
Okay. There was another school there.
Right next to Briggs McDermott House.
Oh, okay. And it was not one of the Bourne public schools? It was...
Things were much more informal in those days. I don't know that there was a school system as such.
Okay.
If you lived close enough to be able to go to that school, you
That's
probably
where you
could
went.
attend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, whether they figured out what they needed financially and assessed everybody based on the number of children you had in school, I do not know.
So, so what do you think? Do you think that it seems like your family and yourself have been sort of drawn back to Bourne time and time again? Even when you lived and worked in Virginia, you always returned.
Always came back.
What is it about Bourne that you found special?
Location, location, location. And you build friendships. Where are all the kids that you went to school with? Well, the majority of them are still back in Bourne. Well, I want to go see Bob Peebles. I want to go see, Mal Cody, whatever it happens to be.
And did you find that most of your peers stayed in town?
At that time, yes. Now, not so much, of course, because the ability to travel quickly, rapidly has improved so much.
Yeah.
That there are people here today that may be in California tomorrow.
Yeah. I'd say
They may
that's
come back or they may stay for...
right, and that's probably one of the biggest changes, like you said, that has happened in our society is people are much more far-flung and they don't necessarily stay to their hometown, although a lot of us come back.
And you stop to think of the same changes that have progressed. If you look over at Head of the Bay in Buzzards Bay, there's a street there where the streetcars used to come up.
Really?
And the streetcars could come all the way, maybe not the same one, this is before the railroad. They came from Boston down through Middleborough, and then over to Onset area.
Wow, wow.
And then across that little bridge this side of Onset,
Yep.
across Buttermilk Bay, and as they came up from Buttermilk Bay, they came up this little road that's named for the railroad.
Okay.
Turned to the little traffic circle,
Yep.
came through town, got by Benjamin Bourne's house, took a sharp right, came over the bridge down to Bourne Four Corners,
Wow.
down County Road,
Yep.
as far as Beach Street and Monument Beach.
Yep.
And they intended it to go on to Pocasset and Catawba and started to lay the rails, but whatever intervened, whether it was a lack of money or lack of interest, they never finished it.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead, they extended it down Beach Street, all the way down to the old railroad station on Beach Street.
Okay.
And that's where it turned around,
Okay.
started back.
That's fascinating. And
was.
I think that's something that today's generation would like to see. More mass transportation, the opportunity to get, back and forth to Boston and around town without needing to drive.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how...
I'm surprised, really, that the railroad has not made a bigger comeback than it has.
Yeah.
We're talking about it, it's on paper, and maybe there's going to be a railroad station right under the current Bourne traffic bridge.
I hope so. I hope so. I think...
And if it's there, where is it going to go?
Yeah.
Sagamore next?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or does it go back and down Cape toward
Right.
Monument Beach?
Right.
And then on toward Woods Hole? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's still track laid there.
Yep. Yep.
So it would be, I think, probably a tremendous saving if they...
Yeah. Yeah. Save, bringing more people down, especially in the summertime, to save on some traffic, having people come down on the train instead of driving.
There's got to be a large percentage, especially of older people, who would like to come down, but Fred, I don't want to go in that traffic again.
Right, right.
Yeah, all these people flashing by and beeping their horns because we're going 45 or 50, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
If you could get on the railroad train and just sit there and have your lunch.
Yeah, comfortable. Dudley, I can't believe how quickly our time has gone. I just wanted to make sure, was there anything that you wanted to talk about or wanted to make sure we covered before we have to wrap it up?
No, what I would do, or ask you to do, is when you get in touch with Skip, find if he wants, obviously this will be edited. In fact, it may be just cut entirely. But if they had several questions that they would like to present me with in advance.
In advance, yes.
And then we could go on and add a little bit to it.
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
So.
This was our inaugural show. You were our first interviewee, and we'll use this as our template and use your ideas moving forward in the future. So.
Well, I appreciate that. I'd look forward to seeing it. I mean, all of us have an ego. If you do go if you don't got an ego.
Right.
So.
Well, and I just want to thank you for your time, and thank you to the viewers for joining us today. And I hope you continue to join us as we talk to prominent Bourne citizens and find out how our past ties in with our country, with our future, the future of the town.
I appreciate your asking me or giving me an opportunity to voice some of my remembrances. And if there's anything I can do to assist in the future, please let me know. But don't wait too long. As I said, 90 comes 91 next.
Thank you so much. And thank you so
pleasure.
much for joining us.